as we begin the season here shortly?
Well, extremely excited considering everything that these young ladies have and had to go through to get to this point. Looking forward to getting on the floor and competing and understanding the fact that we might not be sharp on a lot of things, but the spirit of competition is there. Obviously, we've got some great opponents on our non-conference schedule. As usual, the SEC is going to be tough, but really looking forward to the senior class being the leaders that they've showcased thus far in bringing our young ones around. They've been very good with them in practice and teaching and being engaged, and again, just looking forward to the season starting.
Hey, Jim, let's start with you.
Oh, okay, Nikki. Yeah, we talked to you a few weeks ago, and I guess you really hadn't gotten your team all together yet. But what have you seen develop between them in the time since y'all began practice? What have you improvements and what's come clear to you with them?
Well, what's come clear is we've got young ladies that know how to compete at a high level. Our practices have been intense. We've been able to go against each other, and that's getting a lot of us that normally when you have a scout team, you may not get as many reps, but now we're having to have players step up and get those reps in. But I like the fact that Khayla Pointer has done a really nice job of just leading the attack. Any team that she and I put her on, I try to challenge her with maybe putting her with some of the younger players versus her not having Faustine as her go-to player inside. But the variety that we can display, the diversity of our team is going to be key. And then we have depth. I like the fact that we can go at least 10 players deep right now who understand our system and who understand how to put the ball in the hole, and we can go with the bigger lineup if we wanted to or a quicker, smaller lineup. So I'm excited about the versatility of this team.
Hey, Nikki, you're about to tip
The
off.
newcomers you expect to contribute the most?
Jim, say again? I'm sorry.
Could you talk about 2 or 3 of the newcomers that you expect to contribute the most or be in the rotation?
Well, right now, Sarah Shamatsi is one of my hardest working players, and she's someone who can play the 3 and the 4. She does a great job of just running the floor extremely hard, a high motor kid, and someone who has deep range from the three-point line. So I'm excited about the potential that she has. She's coming from the junior college world, so she's got some experience in competing at this level, so to speak. But I like the fact that she also is someone that Awa Trossi, both being from France, always been able to help her get through our practices and explain things to her. So it's really fun to watch those two interact when they're speaking in French. Sometimes I don't know what all they're saying, and it could be about me, but we'll let that slide. I'm going to have to work on my French, obviously. Then the play, when you think of your younger players, Asia is someone who is going to be really good in our league. She's really the post player that when you miss an Ayanna Mitchell, she's that player that can pick up that slack because she's such a great offensive rebounding post player, but she runs like my guard. She's in the top of the sprints. And again, whenever you got players that come in and they're just wanting to work extremely hard and be like a sponge and learn our system, those are things that you always want as a head coach, and it makes practice a lot funner. It makes them more easily to coach, so I'm looking forward to their progress as well.
If you have another one, Jim.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned Khayla. She was kind of ground down to a nub last year because of how many minutes I think she was leading the conference in minutes played. Do you foresee her playing fewer minutes but maybe more quality minutes this year?
Yes, I hope we can get those minutes down for Khayla. But she showcased that she obviously could handle it. She finished top 5 in minutes played in our league. She finished top 5 in scoring, top 5 in assist to turnover ratio, top 5 in assists. So she led the SEC, or one of the top point guards in the country, if you will. And I think she's somebody that from a stamina standpoint, I would like to have her get some of those minutes off early first and second quarter so we can have her down the stretch. I don't want her pacing herself, so we can look to run Dominique Davis, who's a backup point guard. We can look to run Tiara Young at that spot as well, Jalen Cherry. Those are players who can take some of those minutes off of her plate. And again, we want quality minutes by Khayla Pointer, and we want her to be able to play for the duration of the season. So that's going to be key for us to look at times when we can get her maybe out of the game right before a timeout, right before the half ends. Those are areas that we can also look at managing her minutes.
Okay, I'm good.
Hey, Nikki, you're about to tip off your 10th season at LSU. What comes to mind when you think about the past decade, and any moments and memories in particular that you always find yourself looking back on?
Well, a lot has happened in this past decade, and when you reflect back to the first day that I stepped foot on this campus, I can recall having a veteran group of seniors. I can recall Lysandra Barrett Boogie, Courtney Jones. We had a nucleus that was ready to go, and they were experienced. And I feel like this year we have a nucleus that's ready to go and experienced. And, you know, that led to us going to back-to-back Sweet 16s, and I really feel like this group is capable. We have the tools, we have the experience, we have the youth, we have the depth, and I can't see anything less than us finishing out the non-conference. Our goal, obviously, is to go undefeated in non-conference play, and you obviously want to finish in the top of the SEC, top 4 to get that bye during the SEC tournament, which anytime you're top 4 in our league, top 5 in our league, you should be nationally ranked, which will give you better seeding.
Hey, Coach, this is William at Tiger Rag. You had, I guess, the Zoom meeting before the start of practice. You didn't really have an idea of how defensively you were going to look because you didn't have a lot of contact in voluntary workouts. How is which I know is your pride and joy, that end of the shaping up?
Well, you know, I think one of the things that I always was taught and learned at a very, very early age is you can never have an off night with your defense and your board play. And anytime you're on the road, those two are musts. And I think you have to have those two to compete at this level, especially in our league. And although we haven't had a lot of contact, we have been able to implement strategies. So what are we doing on ball screens? What are we doing on screens off the ball? How's our matchup going to play? Because that's a defense that takes a lot of time. And with having several newcomers, we didn't spend as much time on it as I would have liked. But like I told them, I said, you know, anything that you play defensively, you just got to play it hard and you got to play it smart. And the more you play like a family on your defense, so that part, building cohesion, builds your defense. Doing all those Zoom calls in the off season built our defense. Because we have to be one pass away, we have to be in the helpline, we've got to be there to take charges, rotate. Those are all things that you do when you're taking care of one another.
You do a lot of teaching as a head coach, obviously, but if you sit back and reflect, what are some things that you've learned over the past 10 years as a mentor to so many young ladies?
Well, I've learned that you know, it's interesting because you can bring players from all over the world. You know, I've had players, obviously right now on our roster, we have 2 young ladies from France, and we have 1 young lady from Australia, Rena Hill from Nagoya, Japan, and Peterson was from Denmark. And there's a common denominator there, and they all came to LSU because they believed in the purple and gold. They believed in what it stood for. They believed that it would provide them a quality education, which they did get. All of our kids have graduated with a degree. They believed that they was going to compete at the highest level and be on one of the biggest stages in the country. To be able to see the SEC network during my 10 years and to be able to showcase the best talent in the country, and historically the best have come from the SEC as far as we've put out the most players in the WNBA professionally. We've got the most and had the most national championships in our conference. I think that's something that says a lot about the movement of women's basketball and how we have been able to capture these young ladies' essence of competing. We still look like, play like, and respect the game. It's about skill. It's about angles. It's about being a great teammate. You can just see those qualities in them from wherever they are from. And I like the fact that we do have young ladies that also represent right here in Louisiana. And then we've got young ladies from California, from the D.C. area, that all said, I'm going to go to LSU. And when you talk about being the flagship program of the state of Louisiana, we almost have become the flagship program for the country because we have such diversity. And I like the fact that they're learning from each other and they're learning each other's culture. They're learning how to you may pick up a few words here from Awa and Sarah, but they're also respecting each other in that way. So I'm excited about the fact that we're going to continue to recruit some of the top talent in the country, and we're going to continue to bring them here to LSU.
We got you, Lane. You got to unmute yourself, though.
Nikki, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you. You mentioned Ayanna Mitchell. Bring us up to date on what she's doing. And also a second question regarding Khayla Pointer. I recall her a couple of years ago in her first year or two. She was a very reluctant shooter, and you can see now the cognizance that she can do it at a very high level. Talk about her involvement from a year or two ago to now as a senior.
Well, Ayanna Mitchell had a knee-ending injury, season-ending injury with her knee, and it pivoted her from her aspirations to play in the league and to play at that next level. But she is currently working with LSU and in a department that she interned. And so we're glad that she can still come by and we can still see her and she can still be here in spirit, and obviously her presence is limited due to COVID, but we know that she's here. Khayla's advancement of shooting has come because she's put time into her shooting. She's in the gym before practice, she's in the gym after practice. She's worked on extending her range to being able to shoot the three. She's always been crafty as far as her ability to drive and get to the paint and disrupt people's defensively because she's really that good at getting by defenders. But I like the fact that she's adding the mid-range part to her game. I just remember when she first came in, and I think this is something that you just did in high school, she shot a lot of floaters. And so I just challenged her. I said, you got to get to a spot, kind of like how a Reggie Moncrief would or a Chloe Jackson would get to a spot and elevate and go to the jump shot. And so I made a deal with her. I said, but if you're shooting 50% or better with those floaters, then I'm not going to say anything. Well, she wasn't, so I had to say something, obviously. But I'm excited about Pointer. I'm excited that there was this one thing that I did, and I'm a fan of Sue Bird. We were playing, and Khayla had been struggling a little bit with her scoring. And so Mike, our film guy, literally, I said, hey, get footage of Sue Bird. And I'm not saying Khayla Pointer is Sue Bird. And I said, find footage of Sue Bird and then match the same footage of Khayla Pointer. Well, that wasn't that difficult to do. It didn't take him that long. And so just being able to build her confidence, to give her that part of me as her coach, I think that was important for her to visually see herself being that good because she's a very humbled young lady. She's someone that is very selfless. And there's times where I'm like, Khayla, I need you to be a little bit more about you and take over. And so just learning that balance, I think she's doing a great job of figuring that out right now.
Nikki, you mentioned y'all would shoot the three better. Have you seen that in practice? And who are some of the people that you're going to give the green light to?
Okay, Jim, so this is going to totally blow your mind. Faustina Fua. I know a lot of people are going to say, you gave Faustina Fua the green light. Yes, I have. She's worked extremely hard on coming down in that trail spot and knocking down the three. And actually, every day we do shooting drills where our bigs are supposed to shoot the three, and they're held accountable for the number of threes that they have to make too. But right now, I would have to say Sarah Shamatsi can really stroke the three. Khayla Pointer is shooting the three very well. Well, all my perimeter players are expected to shoot the three too. Awa Trossi, you saw what she was able to do last year. So I like that I have my four-man, my big guards able to stroke the three ball. And then we also have players that it may not be as comfortable for them, and I wouldn't tag them as a three-point specialist, but the fact that they are working on their three makes that equally important to be able to knock down one or two a game. The key for us, if you would say how many threes you would like to make, obviously 7 would be a great number. And then defensively, we want to make sure that we're still keeping people to 3, no more than 4 a game. And so we're not losing that battle of the three-point ball because, as you know, we're going to play a lot of teams that like to shoot a lot of threes. BYU coming up is one in particular that we've got to be ready to stretch our defense a little bit more. And then, as you know, when we get into league, it's going to be your Missouris, it's going to be your Vanderbilt. It's going to be teams like that that really like to shoot the three. So we're getting ready to be prepared for us to make those threes, and that's what we want to have happen when we're looking at our stat line as well.
Kind of a two-part question here. What's it been like being a mom, first and foremost, on top of a Division I head coach, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face when you think back from 2010 when you got here to now?
Well, I mean, being a mom is made me a better coach. I feel like my patience is better. I feel like I'm able to look at them, and I've always said this, even in recruiting, you're going into someone's home and you're asking them to trust you to help raise their daughter. And to have one of my own, I look at who I recruit. I look at the character of who I'm bringing into our family because, my staff have kids. I have a daughter. My strength coach, but the coaches and our kids are at practice and they are watching and they're learning and they're picking up on things that I probably don't pick up on because they see things a little bit differently. So I want to make sure that we're bringing in young ladies that represent the core values that we have set forth, but also that can be role models for our own kids. And I like the fact that our kids carry themselves in that way. Also, being a mom, I've got to be on time. When you're a mom and you got to have dinner at this time and this little one is hungry and things like that, you want to make sure that you're on time and being efficient. And so I think the kids, our team likes that, but I think they also like the interaction with the young ones. Faustina Fua is, I told her, I said, you know what, you should own a daycare one day because she is so good with young kids. And we do a lot in the community, which I'm glad that they sometimes you say, hey, we got to go get in the community and we got to do this, this, and this, but I just kind of let them pick what that is. I let them choose what community involvement they want to have and be engaged with, and then we go and we support what they want to do. And a lot of times it's surrounded and about kids and helping them either whether it's a literacy program or a feeding program or after school program or even a health and wellness type program. And it seems like we gravitate to the kids.
Hey, Coach, it's William again. With the season starting later and obviously less games in non-conference, just this kind of the dynamic of trying to get a lot of things accomplished and fixed rotations and things because the conference is right around the corner. You have less games to prepare in getting to that point. Yeah,
it's been interesting trying to, keep practice at that level of competition when you're not playing as early. We were 2.5 weeks of no games, and normally we would be playing the first part of November. So the scrimmage, bringing in officials, we've been doing that to kind of give them that feel, but it obviously can't replicate it. So I hope the tournaments that we're competing in can help us when we get ready to play in the SEC tournament. And knock on wood, I hope we're able to play a complete SEC season. But I think the one thing that has been challenging is, again, the lack of contact that we were able to have early, and basketball is a contact sport. but not at the expense, obviously, of our student athletes' health. We would never jeopardize that. So that's why we've been in small groups for so long. We still lift in 2 separate groups even today as we speak, just for social distancing purposes. But right now, I think our defense is catching up with our offense. Usually it's the other way around. So, and Chris White, our strength coach, has done a phenomenal job of just getting them back to that shape that they need to be in. We obviously monitor everything with the technology, and we're monitoring, where we were last year compared to this year. We can look at that data and see, and making sure that we're putting them in the healthiest situation they can be to compete for the duration of the season.
Okay, we'll go to Len for the final question.
Yeah, thank you. I want to follow up a little bit, if I could, on postseason, and I know it's a crapshoot at this point at best, but have the women announced anything, to your understanding, about a postseason bubble in the playoffs? And has anybody ever talked at this point, I know it's very early, about the availability of a vaccine sometime in the season, if that is indeed possible?
No, we know that the men are looking possibly to do that. We haven't had conversations as of today. I'm sure it will be a topic of discussion for women's basketball to be bubbled. I would like for them to take, because we were an automatic in. We were in last year. I'd like to take all those teams that were in last year and just plug them back in this year or this next coming season for the NCAA. But no talk about that, and obviously we're hoping and wishful that our experts in the health profession can come up with a vaccine. So right now, there's, again, no talks about us bubbling, but definitely I am open to that concept.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
So we'll
Okay.
start here shortly with so we got about 10 minutes to carry before Rachel.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes.
Got a couple fans over here for you.
Okay. Who we got here?
We're the new video producer.
Yeah. I'm gonna help you out. Coach Neighbor sent me, so.
Sheldon. Nice to meet you, Sheldon. Good. How are you? Say it again. Rafa. Okay, Rafa. Okay, good. Okay. That's Kayla up there. Hey, Kayla.
Hi.
I'm here to help.
How it goes underneath the shirt.
I think so, yeah. Do I talk about mask on? Do I talk about mask on? Okay. Where does it go? Which way?
Where on the shirt do you want it?
More in the middle. It'll come down right above the Tigers, ball.
Right here?
Yeah. Can you get it?
Yeah, I can't get it.
Put it on the outside, so it's gonna. Yeah, like that. There you go.
Am I supposed to be looking at the camera or the Zoom?
Whoever's asking you.
Okay.
So the camera's out.
Kayla, we'll get started here shortly.
Oh, that's nice.
If you don't mind just pressing that unmute button for it. And then we'll just unmute the people that have questions, and you can just look into the camera.
All right, sounds good.
Jim.
Hi, Khayla.
Hey.
Without, I know how much you want to play. You probably want to play 40 minutes every game. But would you talk about having some depth behind you and not having to play so much and play so many minutes, making you a better player potentially this year?
Yeah. I usually don't mind. Sometimes if I have to play, 38, 39, be a little tired, but, whatever the team needs. But very, very excited to have some depth. I'm very excited about our deep guard play, Tierra Young coming off the bench. Dominique Davis has been doing really well. So really excited to have my freshmen come up and now them be sophomores, got a little year under their belt. So I'm excited to see how they'll help us this year.
Hey, Khayla, this is William with Tiger Rag. Coach mentioned a little bit before you got on about maybe long-term goals. See the program, be at the top of the SEC, in the hunt for like a 4 seed to get the bye. And just kind of get the program, back, deep runs in the post. Obviously, you didn't get a chance to do that last year. Has it been a topic of discussion amongst the team? Like, these are some things we like to, especially for you as a senior, you like to leave it better than you found it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be LSU. We're gonna fight every game. We're going to compete, regardless if it's the the top team in the conference or it's the bottom team in the conference, right? So we just kind of give it our all every single game, whether we're playing a South Carolina or whether we're playing a Tennessee or anybody, because every game is hard in the SEC. There is no nights off, no easy games, right? So those are things that we just kind of focus on. Our goals have not changed. Winning the SEC championship has been one that I've wanted since I've came in as my freshman year. Making it to the tournament, going far in the tournament. So those are things that we hang our hat on. Just being a team that competes every night in and night out, and the ultimate goal is to win the SEC championship.
Hey Khayla, Michael Cobble from Channel 2 here in Baton Rouge. 2 questions for you. First off, what are you excited about with this year's team? And then secondly, what do you think is the mental health of the team, having endured what you all have for the last, I guess 9 months or so? Where are you guys mentally as far as looking forward and maybe cautious optimism, excited but also understanding that this thing can go on?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling, and all of us are feeling what every player is feeling. Just the feeling of last year, just getting the season cut short, just abruptly like that, not expecting it. So I think we're all just really, really happy to even play. Blessed to even be able to step on the floor. Cases are still rising. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, so we do have those things that kind of do worry us. But it's like, hey, we're going to be as safe as we can. We're doing COVID testing 3 times a week, and I know other schools are being just as safe as well. But, we do want to compete. We do want to play, so these are the chances that we take, and we're just going to try to stay safe while we do it.
Khayla, let me jump in here. Again, a 2-part question. Number one, and this is a little frivolous, but I am curious. Do you have a nickname that either you've given yourself or people around you or your players have? And the second, go ahead.
They just call me KP.
Okay.
That's just my initials, my abbreviation.
Okay, so KP is fine.
Yeah, KP.
Compare, following up a little on Michael's question. He asked about the mental aspect and the psychological stuff that's going on with this. But tell me about, if you can, a week before the season now and a week before the season last year. Is there any way to compare your readiness?
How prepared can you actually be? We never really know until we actually step out there on the floor. But it has been different. It's been a funny, weird looking off season for everybody. We had a lot of Zooms over the summer. We weren't able to be here in June and July and participate in our fourth quarter Friday that we do every year that usually gets us prepared for the season. So when we kind of came back, we had to grind. We had to grind a little bit, like 10 times more, 2 times more, to make up for that time that we lost. But, everybody was with their backs against the wall. Everybody is facing this pandemic. It's not just like we are. So really just what you prepared, what you put in for it. So that type of things, being in the weight room, extra shots in the gym, extra workouts, those are the type of things that we put in the time for. Hopefully, that'll work out for us during the season.
Hey Khayla, Coach Fargas is entering her 10th season at LSU. As a senior now, what about Coach makes you proud to play for her, and how would you describe your past 3 years learning from her?
That's a funny question for me. It's been great. I never regret my decision to come here. One of the best decisions that I made in my life. But just being able to play for her and just her personality, her humor, knowing that she'll get on you to the next or one possession, and the next possession she's in your ear, like pumping you up, or just never anything negative, always being positive in your head, those type of things that she really hangs her hat on. But that's just the type of person that she is. She has a great ego, great confidence about herself, and it's just the way she carries herself, and she tries to instill that in us, so we can be great women, be prepared for the outside world when we leave here.
Hey, Khayla, this is William again. I want to talk a little bit about the perception of the program. And I'm not trying to get you in trouble here, but the SEC coaches rated y'all to finish 7th. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure that made the rounds in the locker room about wait, we feel like we're better than that. If that's a source of motivation, or you don't even pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Well, we respect it. You know, we respect every coach's opinion. We respect the media. We respect the polls. But like I said earlier, we're just going to be LSU. You know, we've always been a team that's fight. We always fight. We always battle. You find ourselves always in those top games against those top teams because we just go in there with heart. You know, we play hard. We hustle. And those are the games that we like. We like playing those type of games. So just trying to be consistent within that. And we're just going to be ourselves. You know, we're going to compete. That's just who we are.
And we got time for a final question from Cobble for Khayla.
You were really good at this. You handled that question quite well. Just if you could go back to my first question, what excites you about this year's team specifically?
What excites me? I think this might be the biggest roster that LSU has ever had. We have 17 players. So, one, the practice atmosphere is really different. Just so much energy. Our freshmen, our returners, our JUCO transfers. It's just so many different people. But we have a lot of depth this year. We have a lot of players that can do a lot of things. Really excited to play with Iowa again. Really excited to play with Falsey. But really also excited to play with Aja Petty, one of our freshmen. That's a monster. Like, she is so really, really strong. Really excited to play with Sarah, who can stroke it from the three. We just have so many weapons this year. So I'm excited to see how we're going to look this year and can't wait to get out there, honestly.
Thank you for your time, Khayla.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get started here shortly.